check, mic check. Yo, good morning and welcome to the stream, guys. As always, we're jumping right in. Don't necessarily know what today's gonna be like, but we're attacking it aggressively. And I've got mostly legendary gear here, so already on the character, which is nice. Yo, shout out to whoever just liked the stream. Thank you so much. Much appreciation, my friend. Ooh, loot. I love it. I love the loot. As you can see, I've sort of decorated my whole background here with things that look like maybe you'd find in a game such as Diablo. Even made my own waypoint board that you could teleport on and whatever and whatnot. Got a lot of loot too. My first time playing the rogue. I feel like I'm doing alright. And I've sort of stayed away from checking out builds online. I've just sort of kind of felt it out myself. The sorcerer that I made last season ended up basically being a build that you would find online. Somebody told me, they're like, oh yeah, your build that you have is actually what they recommend to do online. I was like, yeah, well, it just felt so much better to kind of naturally come across that, just building my character based upon what I could figure out. Making a character for fun that kind of resulted in the same thing anyways. I'm sure it's just as fun doing it the other way too, but for now I'm enjoying just making characters based upon attacks that I would enjoy performing in the game. Yo, 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 thank you so much for the likes, guys. It helps the stream out so much. Like a ton. That guy was holding on to a lot of stuff. Maybe that's why he was so chubby, huh? Chubby boy. Wasn't making it through TSA with all that gear. Dude, what's this guy? It's kind of a different way to escape. He like turns invisible and I can like run around everybody. Get out of the wall or something. can't wait until I have a big enough audience to do reaction videos. So it's like, oh man, every big streamer does reaction videos. Can't wait. I can't wait until my opinion matters, right? It's like, they're always so critical in terms of their judgment of somebody else's character. Just like pointing out an immediate flaw that's very driven by the media. Not necessarily taking into consideration the vast amount of personalities that exist on the face of the earth. It's like there's just one personality that we're supposed to adhere to, and that's the hive mind's eye of what being, you know, perfect human being is supposed to be. I'm telling you, my reaction videos will be so different. I'm gonna take in like free will into consideration, whether or not we have it. The idea of a subjective universe upon varying degrees. Oh, what? You just fell out of the ceiling? What are you guys doing up in the attic? You're a little too chubby there for that. Fatso. I like doing these early morning streams though, because it's kind of like you're a lot less tense to a certain extent. It's like I can get online and like, you know, have some sort of dialogue that I put out into the world, and it's just almost like pillow talk or something. It's just because I just barely woke up and rolled out of bed and just turned on my computer. It's the first thing I did. Grabbed an energy drink, turned on the computer, and just started streaming. It's kind of fun. There's a lot of guys that spawn when I take that out. I better remember that. Every time they release a new Diablo, though, I'm always waiting for the Amazon to be put back in the game. But they always just put the rogue back in. I'm like, what's the affinity towards like this rogue character? Do people like the dark and mysterious, you know, guy in the corner of the cafe? Maybe he's just a weirdo, rather than being like some intriguing fellow who's traveled the world. Maybe he's just weird. I really enjoyed the Amazon and Diablo 2. And the game mechanics of, you know, it looked so rustic. It's hard to beat. It's like when the limitations of the game actually add to the feel of it being like, obviously the limitations of the day, you know? It's not necessarily like they purposely made the graphical interface the way it was in the exact same character on the screen, you know? It's just like, oh, there's my alarm to get up and start streaming. Come on, bro. You and I both know that you just want to be set free. Just give up already, you demon. Give up, you filthy fellow. It's been good for me to stream this game too. It's like really giving me something to do. I've been so lost lately in my got my degree and everything. It's like, what do I do now? It's like my degree is like such a weird degree. It's just, you know, the guy studied about everything. It's called interdisciplinary studies. The guy like studied everything, and so we're like, okay, here's a degree. He like studied a lot of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, and I didn't like any of it. Maybe I'll just, you know, like, spend my time playing video games. It's the only thing that I feel like has enough, of a story to be interesting for me to have it qualified to be worthwhile in my life. It's like everything else is just so boring, and it's like life is so disappointing. I'd rather just play video games and adhere to the game world more than whatever else is going on outside. That's why I just like wish and hope. It's like, oh, maybe one day I can be a streamer, like legitimately, you know, not just like for hobby. It's like, then it would be like justified, you know. That's the dream, at least. That's the hope, and I'm trying to keep the dream alive here, guys. I noticed that at 6 o'clock in the morning, like 5 to like 7, it's like that's when most people on my subscription list are online, so it's like, alright, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get up at 6 every day and start streaming. Here we are. See what comes of it, you know? Yummy. What do we got here? Adventurer's Tunic of the Deflecting Barrier. The one thing that I also don't like as much is like all the names of everything is like going through this like random word generator. It's like in the older games it was like everything was like carefully made up or whatever, you know. Like the names were carefully selected. On this it's like, oh, you can obviously tell that it's like going through some massive language thing. Let's decide where we're gonna go next. Here. Yo, you guys, let's try and see if we can reach past 10 likes. It's like the first 4 people that joined were like, really? You know? Really into it. And let's see if we can't get everybody else to engage the stream. It makes it so much better when people comment, though, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate people here that are just like watching and enjoying and listening, and it's like for whatever part of your day it's like relaxing or entertaining, you know. But it makes for so much easier of an experience for me if somebody's like in chat commenting. Oh, thank you so much for the like, whoever just dropped it. Yo, drop the bomb. Thank you. I call that loot. That's the loot that I love. Some stream love. See, and then it just boosted. Like, it says we got like 4 people watching right now. Then all of a sudden after that person just dropped that like, whoever you were, thank you so much. All of a sudden in the feed, the game's feed, because it shows like what it's served to. You know, like served is in like who they show my stream to in like somebody's feed. Right after whoever it was that dropped that like, it like went and served it to like 9 people. 9 more people, so it definitely like helps out a ton. But I'm getting pretty good at just like the commentary, you know what I mean? Just like, oh yeah. Like being able to hold a narrative about what's going on. Yeah, the new thing about all the new Diablo is like everything's like random word generated, which is, I don't know. It obviously makes the world like probably much more manageable for on like the coding side, right? You don't have to spend all this time like inputting names for different things. It's like the world itself was probably randomly generated too, you know what I mean? And all this stuff. It's not necessarily like off of some seed world where it can like change its layout based upon like something that was originally designed or whatever. It's like so much random generation. But you can like tell as a player, and the other thing I can tell too is like how many people from World of Warcraft have worked on Diablo as well. I can like tell by the names and some of the character designs. And like, yeah, this is definitely like somebody who from WoW who like came over and like worked on it, you know. And don't get me wrong, WoW is like a very interesting game. I feel like it's much more less intense though. Like, I played as a Death Knight for a while. I was just like, I need to do some content where I play WoW, just because I was doing streaming. It was like the only reason why. And I played some WoW, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. You just basically run around and explore forever, and it just never ends. And you can be like, it just felt so alone to me. Just like running around, like, in some world where it's like, everything was artificial. Which is probably why I enjoyed Diablo 2 so much, is because it seemed like everything was handcrafted. And like specific detail was like spent, people's time were spent on the specific details, not so much of this randomness. Which I think WoW is probably one of the first games that probably started utilizing a lot of those random generators because of how big the world was, right? Yeah, I played WoW and I was like, I just felt so alone. I was like, it couldn't make me feel more alone, of just like everything is based upon some like random generator, and like the world's so massive that I can just be all by myself over here talking to computers like all day, and it's just like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I enjoyed it as much, but that's probably why it's like, even playing this, I almost have the incentive to go back and play Diablo 2, even though it's a game that was made in the 90s. But I'm willing to just, you know what I mean, like give up a little bit of my own pride, or maybe some of my tunnel vision of a perspective, you know, and say like, maybe, you know what, it's time that I just get with the program a little bit. So I don't know, maybe I'll play some like Path of Exile as well here coming up, because somebody dropped in stream, somebody came into the stream like a couple days ago, and they're like, you're still playing like Diablo, don't you know like everybody's playing Path of Exile because of how much better of a game it is? Yeah. Like, I played Path of Exile too, just like I played WoW. And I was just like, I don't know, it was like it just seemed like some of the mechanics, it was like in this game you can like grind and like just get your guy up and be smart. You can like be smart about where you go and like what you do. But in like Path of Exile, there's so much of just like OP things that just like come out of nowhere that it's like, it's almost like getting somewhere is like, seems like the grind is, and I like to play hardcore too, is the problem. Like, since I like to play hardcore, it's like the grind is just keeping like recreating the game until you actually get a character that is OP. It's like you just have to keep like seriously just retrying playing the game until you finally get a character that doesn't run into things like randomly that just kills it. Because there's so much of this random like interaction of just chaos that's just like, that dude just one-shot me out of nowhere. Like, it just happens so much in Path of Exile. If you actually want to level up and not run from everything, you have to try and face it. I'm just like, geez, this is like ridiculous for people that like a challenge. And it's like some of the bosses and their mechanics, I was like, okay, what is their moves like? You know what I mean? Like, do they have like some like pattern that I can recognize? And there was like some that I was just like, no, this is like completely like straight up random. And if you don't have the OP weapons and items, you'll never be able to use like some sense of like skill to like get past it. I don't know. People love it because it's so difficult. So it's like the people that actually do play it like to brag. They like to brag how like, oh yeah, it's so hard, man. I'm just like, yeah, but it's just like life. Like at some point in time, like if you're not able to like normalize what life is, then it's such a matter of chance that it's like, can anybody be proud of any accomplishment that they've ever achieved in this existence? It's just like such a matter of just like, oh yeah, I was born into like royalty, like good job. Very good job of you, like being born into like the richest person alive. You like did it. You really accomplished a lot. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like Path of Exile kind of feels like that. And I'm just like, where's the ability for me to like utilize some sense of being smart? Like with this, I can like, obviously, if you do stupid skills, like you're gonna suck. It's like you have to maintain some sense of like normality, but with that, it's just like, well, shit. This guy just spawned and like laser blasted like across the like 9/10 of the entire screen, and if I wasn't standing right there, I was gonna die. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like people, and I guess it's not. It doesn't really have that big of a following, like outside of YouTube. On YouTube, people just love to like do the thing where it gives them a sense of like, oh yeah, I did this, or whatever, like, I'm great and everyone else sucks, and like, you know what I mean? For some reason, people like people like abusive people on YouTube, and I'm like, why? Why do you guys like all these people, these like creators and stuff that are just like abusive and toxic? Most of them are, especially a lot of the really popular ones, and it's like, they don't have a sense of like, you know what I mean? Like, life has conditions based upon your choices of like good and evil, which will allow you to ultimately come to the same conclusion as everybody else. Like, man really is created equal, because, you know what I mean? Like, all things relate to the source of life. And so, you know what I mean? If you harmonize with that pathway, then obviously your value system is going to be normalized, and a lot of these factors that people don't take into consideration are going to allow you to, you know what I mean, like have a decent life. But they're all just like, no, this guy sucks, and like all this stuff, and it doesn't take into consideration like what they believe in or whatever, and it doesn't like give anybody like the benefit of the doubt kind of thing. It just like completely just attacks character. I'm just like, you guys suck. You guys like literally suck. If I had to like throw my character into the pits, you know what I mean? Just like, you guys, and it's just like, I can't believe that people, and it's like, if I had to like, you know what I mean, like initiate chance into it, like, you guys are the ones that got lucky. Like, good thing that I have a sense of like value that isn't based off of like this popularity, because if it was, like, I would be so like distraught with like the type of people that are admonished in this society and world, that it's like burdening on my soul to feel like these are the people that are living life and like making it. You know, and it's like, if only that my stream could be clipped right there and just like put an end to like all the people that I just feel like suck. You know, but whatever, that's life. I better just focus on myself and like maintain some sort of perspective that allows things to, you know, be what they are and not affect my emotions so much that I get disenchanted by it or whatever. And I swear they don't even have like that big of a vocabulary. It's like I can like sit and stream for like, how long have I been streaming for? 31 minutes, and I'm like, I've already used like a vocabulary beyond their like understanding or like range at least. You know, just like, this sucks. Which makes me wish I could say like, oh, welcome to the channel where like we're the top of the top, we're the tippy top. Maybe in like diversified understanding of like the English language. Without being like somebody who specializes in that. Like, welcome to where you can like listen. Welcome to the stream where you can like listen and like feel like you're like trying to grow. You know? And that's what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to like, I really am trying to grow, I really am trying to work with the system and like figure out what works for me, what works for other people. You know, like the other day I spent like all day just like working with ChatGPT to try to come up with some like, on Google Ads, it gets very like specific on how you like run an ad campaign. If any of you are ever interested in like getting into that, like, it's like you have to type in all these like, what are the searches that your audience are gonna like use and search for, like what search terms like relate to your audience. And so I use ChatGPT to look at all my data, and it's like, okay, the people that watch my stream are like 25 to 40, which also makes me kind of like an outcast in YouTube, which is why I feel like a lot of the popular streams like are just these people that just make fun of other people and like criticize without taking into consideration like somebody's beliefs or something like that. Because like most of them just have little kids, like people ages like 10 to 16 or whatever that watch their stuff. Mine is like, no, it's like adults. Mine, it's like, if you look on my thing, it's like males. It's like males ages 25 to 40. So I'm like, this is like a legit audience, like working class, like, you know what I mean? They're on at like 5 to 7 because they have to go to work at like 9 to 5 and all this stuff, and they're mostly on Sundays. But the interesting thing is, like, when you try to like run an ad, you have to like include all this stuff about like what are their interests. And if anybody is ever like trying to do that on their own, like, and I could give you some advice, like use ChatGPT. Like seriously, use ChatGPT and like try to come to some understanding as to like what your audience is interested in. Because I mean, it helped me like even figure out like what type of music that audience is like mostly into. It's like kind of like lo-fi, pop, indie, alternative rock is like the list. And I even had to do, because it was like 30% of my audience is like female. So I even had to do like, okay, now have a third of the option be like more focused on like a female audience. And it like did that for me. It was like, okay, so then this is like Taylor Swift, like Billie Eilish, and like a few other things. They were like focused on females, and I was like, wow, this is like a lifesaver using this online. You just go to like chatgpt.com or whatever. But yeah, ads. Like I would definitely recommend that to anybody. And then you go to Google Ads, and you can like customize your campaign and make all the confusing parts that just like, what do I put in this part when it's like asking me what search terms my target audience is going to be using for day to day. It's just like type it into ChatGPT. What are the top search terms or activities or interests for people in this age range? And tax bracket, because I had to do like tax brackets as well. Like, what most likely is their like income and stuff. So you type that in and it gives you some feedback on that. So we'll see how it works out, you guys, for this next couple days while that's getting me some data on things or whatever. Yo, and make sure if you haven't to drop a like, because it just seriously just like that's the one difference that allows people to like actually excel on YouTube, is if their audience sort of engages, even if it's in a minor way, just like liking the stream, sharing the stream. If you want to enjoy the experience with somebody that you know, then you know what I mean, it just helps me out so much. What's this guy doing? Just getting the ground. Oh, he's dead. That slain villager is dead. He's been dead for like since the code wars. You want me to, I could like, I feel like I should be like some writer for like games or something like that. Like, that guy's been dead since the code was written. Or whatever. With the eternal conflict in there's got to be some like matrixy kind of thing. The code wars. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a good morning again so far, and that everybody is, just whatever you got going on today, you can take the time to just mundanely watch and relax while, I just talk about things, come to different conclusions, and sort of wake myself up every single day so that I can, like, restate my value system so I don't feel like I have to, be so... like, I don't have to be so ignorant and gullible. Like, the world is such a place that tries to tell you, like, what things are. And it takes away your ability to just, like, say, like, no, like, that's not what I think, or, and if you don't think or believe the way that the world tells you to, then it's, like, difficult for you to interact with it or engage with it, So it's like I feel like I try to run through this kind of thing every day where I allow myself to like state things in a way that make it so I don't have to be on a leash. It's like I can be free floating in space. I can survive in outer space where it's like everything is relative. On Earth, you're subject to gravity, which is like, what you have to do because you're a thing that lives on Earth. But if I can like live in outer space, and maybe just orbit the planet, like live on the moon kind of thing, it's like things can be much more relative. The gravity is a lot less. And I can have a value system which is based off of my perspective and some sort of like eternal type of, thing, because life is that. Like, life isn't just this cut and dry, like, we're born and die. It's like things are connected, and there's like this ability for us to like have a rich experience if we understand that this is very temporary, and what has value is sometimes what has value to us and maybe nobody else. And I just like to like come to that place sort of organically every day so that I don't just get caught up. And it's kind of hard sometimes, you know, not getting caught up in the world and the gravity that just pulls you in different directions, because it's just like, oh, well, if I don't adhere to this, then I'm gonna get left behind. But you know, that's the amazing thing about space, is it's just like, there's so much room to it that it's like you can do your own thing and survive and not have to be pulled in all these directions by everybody and everything. If you guys like what I'm saying, make sure to throw out a like in the, you know, click that like button. Because again, it's just like, you know, I feel like this stream and channel are pretty unique, because I definitely, it's like I don't hear people talking about stuff like this in that manner. Like, I hope that I can help some people, you know what I mean, in that sense of just like, this is a very, I'm a very unique person. And I feel like I really am, because of what I've survived and been through. And it's like, somehow I can maintain this, like, attitude. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, I've had people tell me that I'm crazy for this same stuff. And it's like, the funniest thing is I'm just like, yo, what I'm saying makes sense. Like, I know it is. And people are like, no, this is like, your paragraph and like document make no sense. And I could type it into like an artificial intelligence, and it's like, oh, your paper addresses these things, and I'm like, okay, like, it's not me, it's just that people aren't willing to listen. Like, the computer even understands what I'm saying. And like, you guys are saying that I'm like crazy because this is like what I believe in. And I'm like, obviously you guys just are stuck in your beliefs, because the computer actually acknowledges what I'm saying. And it like obviously makes sense, because it is like saying something that is not the same thing, but it's like on the same line of reasoning. And I'm just like, wow, this world really is crazy, of just like, I can be judged like that. Like, I just can't, like, that's why I just like can't wait until, like, you know what I mean, like, I'll be like vindicated, like, when it's all over, just like, you know, like, when finally it's just like, I've breathed my last breath. I almost can't wait for it, because it's just like, I'll finally be able to say like, I told you guys, or whatever. Like, I seriously told you, and it was just like, I was like beaten. I was literally abused because of it. And I thought I was just gonna like be a normal guy and have like a normal job and like have a normal family, and like that's what I thought my whole life. And I was just like, I'll just be a doctor and go to school and be a doctor and like all this stuff. And it's like, nope, I'm like sitting here playing Diablo, talking to people about having different perspectives on reality. Which is like, you know, now it's like, you guys, it doesn't matter, like, if somebody has, like, some job that makes it extremely difficult. It's like, initial cause was the thing that, like, led up to, like, all things in this world. And it takes away everybody's, like, ability to, like, brag. Because it just means that it's, like, things, you know what I mean? Like, choice. You chose to do that for a living and do whatever you do. And I chose this because all the death represents is a choice. And so it's like, no, it's like, sorry, but like, we're all on the same plane and we're all from the same place, which means that whatever you're doing doesn't really have any more like of an air to it than what I'm doing. No matter what you're doing. We can come to that conclusion if we like initiate the argument of whether or not human beings have free will. And the funny thing is as long as your argument for free will includes like it was a choice, then you just say like, I chose this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I chose to do this in the beginning. And like, you chose that. And it was like, you could choose anything, so it doesn't even matter what you're doing. Anyways, you can come to conclusions like that. With philosophy, you can. Not with like practical science. Anyways, my stream's starting to die down. I think I'll finish this dungeon and then so I call it a day or whatever, you know. Or not a day, but you know, I mean, I've sort of planned out my methodology for the day and my direction at least. Where I'd like to go, I've given some heading and orientation. And also, you know what I mean, like, I feel like my streams do better if I break them up more. For some reason, this stream is like, does a lot better at the very beginning than it does, like, as it, like, goes on. It's like the system, like, serves it to, like, people more when it just starts out. Almost like your YouTube channel, like, if you start a new YouTube channel, like, I feel like you have the ability to gain a lot more traction on, like, certain things. It's like the algorithm went the other way. It's like rather than just, like, playing into the hands of, like, people that, like, are already have the foundation. Now it's like plays into the hands more of just, like, stuff that is completely new. She's just like, oh, come on, keep, like, it's like, I'm still doing things and, like, scratching the surface of topics and stuff that are different, like, every day. Oh, my pin is white today. My map pin. We're almost done with this dungeon, though. Using a cooldown increases your dodge chance. Agile, yeah. Let's put one in there. Okay. Watch out for whatever's gonna pop up. We actually took that guy out pretty quick. I'm surprised. Got a legendary ring. Nice. Cool. Alright, guys. I'm gonna have this be the end of this segment this morning because it's like we've already spiked. And we already, like, spiked the ball. We just gotta let it roll. Now, we kicked it. You know what I mean? We gotta, like, let it be free or whatever so it can, like, go into the other team's hands, and whether they're strong or not, we'll see how strong they are if they can end the game. But if they end the game, are they actually weak or strong? And that's how you spin the idea of victory on its head. Alright, guys, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna go and kind of, like, shower and eat and whatever else, get my day rolling too. So thanks for joining, thanks for the likes. I'll see you next time.